All right, this is Gemini IT. We're here in our lab where we stage equipment, and we're going to just do a quick video on how to do a bar tab with Tonic Point of Sale. Tonic Point of Sale allows you to either start a tab at the beginning of a transaction or after you've rung up the first round. So, typically you're going to ring up beers or shots or mixed drinks or whatever, but just for our testing purposes, we're going to ring up an open item just to keep the price a little lower, and we'll put it in our open retail spot, and we'll put it at 50 cents. So when I, say that's my first round, hey, would you like to start a tab? Yeah, I sure would. Typically, a lot of bars will have a payment device sitting here, a card reader or whatever, that they'll stick the card in and it'll grab the name, that kind of thing. But this particular site where we're installing this system, they do true incremental authorizations. And you can set your incremental authorization whatever you want, $25, $50 or whatever. What happens if you don't do that, and it depends on what the point of sale company calls incremental auths. What do they mean by incremental authorizations? Most point of sale companies, when they say that, they will authorize for the first round or the first amount, whatever you have that pre-auth to be set for. And in my little demo situation here, I've got $2, but you can set it as to whatever you want. But they don't. When the guest exceeds that first authorization, it doesn't go out and get another authorization until the guest settles the tab. So that's fine for many bar operations out there, but you do run into trouble. Let's say you authorize the card for $1 just to make sure the card's good, or you authorize the card for $25 and then the guest runs up a $200 tab, and if they're not there to close out their tab, and again most guests are, so what I'm about to mention is not a prolific problem, but it can be an issue. But most guests are there when they close out their tab. If, for example, the tab is $200 and they don't have $200 on their card, you can say, hey, your card didn't have enough to cover the balance of your tab. Give me cash or give me another card, and it's fine. But some guests do walk out on a $200 tab, and if you allow them to do that, and you've only authorized the card for $25 and they've only got $100 on their card, you eat the balance, or you have to chase it down, one of the two. So what Tonic allows me to do with an encrypted swipe here, and it's coming to EMV soon, but I can do true incremental auth. So we're going to see how that works. So I've rung up 50 cents here. I'm going to hit pay, and I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to swipe my card here on this reader. It's going to grab my name, and I'm going to hit process, and I'm going to hit send, and it's going to start a tab. For example, if I go back here, I see several. There's the last one I just did. I can sort these tabs by name if I like. I can search for tabs. So if I wanted to find, Joe's tab, and one of the things I like about Tonic is I can list quite a few tabs here, but I can search for any name that I want. But I'm going to pull up this one. Remember, I've got a $2 authorization on my bank card. So now I'm going to ring up I'm going to ring up $1.55. I'll go to open items, and I'll go back to open retail, $1.55. Enter. Funds are running low. Please add more funds as soon as possible. Amount left, $2.55. So this tells me what's been rung up on the card and the threshold and everything. So I'll touch OK. And when I go to pay, I touch this plus bar right here. You see that? See that plus? How much do I want to add? It shows me that I've authorized this card for $2. He owes me $2.05. How much more do I want to put on it? Now, again, I'll only put maybe 50 cents on it just in this example. But let's say this round, he's rung up, maybe he ordered an $80 shot of Johnny Walker, whatever, and that put him way over. And I could put in another $100 on here, to keep that authorization $25 ahead of where he's at. So we're at 205. He's already been authorized for $2. If I wanted to put in, make sure he's got $100 leeway, I'd put $102 or in here, I put $100 to add another 100. So that's up to the bartender. If we just did it in stages, 25, 25, 25, or 10, 10, 10, or 1, 1, 1. That's not a smart way to do that, because again, if I order an $80 shot of Johnny Walker whatever, then if the system automatically just did $25, it still wouldn't get there. So we need to put in enough, so say, yeah, I might have another drink or two. Well, okay, we'll put $10 on there, and so now there's a total of $12 being authorized on that card. And if you look at, if the guest will look at their bank statement or their phone, they're going to see $12 worth of authorizations. So that's the cool way, the right way to protect yourself as a bar owner, and doing incremental auths the right way. So now let's say I'm ready to go. I'll go back here, and here I am. There's Charles Schaefer for 205. I'm going to hit pay. I'm done. I'm just going to send, and I could have just hit close out the check, because when I go back here, I'm still sitting there. So when I go to pay, if I hit close, that'll close out this tab. All right, and I can put a tip in there. I can do whatever I want, and be done with it. So that's how we handle these kind of things. I'm going to touch the pre-auth amount here, and it will show me exactly what he owes. So that's the way you close out the check. Sorry, I misspoke there a little bit earlier, but I'm going to touch the amount here. The total the guest owes is 205. I'll touch that. I'll hit update, and I can print a receipt, print the customer copy and the merchant copy. That'll allow me to give a authorization slip with the final authorization amount to the guest. They can write a tip on there, and I can go back and I can do my thing. So notice I'm here. There's 0 amount due. I'm going to click close to close that checkout, and it's done. So now notice when I go back to my list of orders, that one's gone. All right. So we'll close out these other tabs real quick. I'm going to go over here just to this other terminal. We'll go back to the order screen. We'll close out this guy. We'll go to pay. Let's say this guest wants to pay by cash. You know what? I'm just going to pay by cash. My tab's $1, amount due. My card's been authorized for $2. I'm going to void that payment. And now I'm going to hit new for new payment. I'm going to pay by cash, and I'm going to key in the amount. So again, I can hit that, or I can use one of my speed tenders over here. Let's say the guy gives me $5, and I hit process, and that gives me a payment receipt. I can print a payment receipt if I want to or not. I don't have a printer hooked up to this, but it shows me my change due, all that. So now I go back to the one final check that's left. Here's Linda. She owes 75 cents. Let's say she is going to pay out with her card. She's not going to do anything else. She's done. She hits pay. Notice she has a $2 authorization on there. She only owes me 75 cents. So when I touch this field right here, she owes me 75. I hit enter. I hit update, and it gives me the prompt to hit whatever authorization slip I want. So that's how you handle pre-authorizations. That's how you handle guests who want to add stuff to their tabs. That's how you handle adding more funds to the authorization so you're protected. That's how you close out a tab without adding anything else. That's how you void a current payment and change the payment type on Tonic Point of Sale. And feel free to reach out to us here at Gemini IT 918. Our website is GeminiIT918.com. We'd love to visit with you, whether you have a bar, restaurant, or any other hospitality situation. Thank you.